After this, we discuss further. There's a few things to discuss with you.
Of course. Can. Let us refresh. Let's see if we are live. Are we live? I think we are live. Ardy, are we live? Yes, we are live now. I can see it on Facebook. Alhamdulillah. That is awesome. Currently...
After this, we discuss further. There's a few things to discuss.
Oh, wait. Oh, I got to mute. Of course. Okay, dah. I got to mute my Facebook. Kalau tak ada feedback. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Fantastic. Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to everybody who's watching right now. Selamat pagi to Tuan Datuk Paduka Ardy Ismail. Thanks for coming on board today. It's awesome. This is our second of the HIN live halal stock analysis. So we're going to go fast. And last week, right? So today, what we're going to do is we're going to cover the stocks we covered last week. We had 3 counters, alhamdulillah, last week that we spoke about. Ardy had his views on it, and we're going to see what happened in the past 1 week. We had some low, medium, and high convictions on these counters, and I'm very excited to see the progress that we've made. So, just to share with you guys whoever you're watching, today we're going to be covering the 3 from last week, which were Zoom, that's ZM, Zoom. We had a medium conviction on it. Cloudflare, NET, we had low conviction, and Crocs, we had high conviction on that. So if you remember from our last week's Facebook Live, you would have remembered these 3. And so I'm going to stop sharing here so that Ardy can share his screen. Ardy, do you have anything to say about these 3 counters we had last week?
Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you for actually tuning in again. Yep, thank you Afiq for the introduction. And yeah, basically we're going to take a look at the 3 stocks that Afiq has mentioned just now and see how it has performed since we actually did the analysis on those stocks, right? Yeah, so without further ado, let's go on to the first stock, Afiq.
Let's go. There will be Zoom. You can share your screen. I think I've allowed share screen on your end, so you can just click share and show us your charts.
All right, hold on. Entire screen.
Sure.
Okay, I hope you can see the screen that I've shared, that I'm sharing right now.
Kita besarkan lah. Let's make it bigger like that.
Okay. Okay, so this is the Zoom stock in front of us, and right now, as you can see, we are still within this channel, which is pointing towards the 4 p.m. and price is still actually trading below its 15 and 30 moving average. So I can say that for Zoom stocks, it is not at a level where I would like to buy, right? However, if you are actually trading this particular stock, if the price goes towards the lower slanting line here, which can act as dynamic support, this is an area where you could buy. And actually, there the target is at around $280. Right now, it's at 304. So if it goes to around 280, you could actually buy once you see some signals indicating that there could be a reversal back to actually test the dynamic resistance, which is around 321. So all in all, it's a target of about $40, and that's about 10 to 15% in terms of growth if you would like to actually do trading for Zoom video communication, right? But do take note that this particular stock, right, fundamentally, it is considered as one of the COVID-19 stocks. They call it that, all right? So you understand, right, Afiq, what that means? Maybe you can explain it.
Yeah, so for those of you out there who are unaware, we are in the middle of a pandemic. It got bad, it got worse. It got slightly better here in Singapore. Now it's getting worse again. And the reason why we say Zoom is one of the COVID-19 stocks to watch is because lots and lots of companies are moving people to work from home, right? If you're working from home, you definitely need a way to communicate. And Zoom has come out as a very clear winner amongst all the other companies that do video communications. Things like Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, even Skype have all, been left behind by the sheer powerhouse that is Zoom. And so Zoom, folks, if in my opinion, if you're going to be looking much longer term, then yeah, as long as COVID is still here, it is here for the long term, and Zoom is something to look at for the long term. But in the short term trading, maybe not, because if you look at the chart right now, Ardy, what do you think? Uptrend, downtrend? What would you say?
I would say that this particular stock, there's a bit more risk if you're going in, because as you can see, the angle of this particular channel is actually pointing towards 4 o'clock, right? Or rather about 3:30 on the clock, right? So it is still considerably, in a slightly bearish trend. So if, there are other stocks that are in an uptrend, it's better to actually choose something like that to trade than a stock which is, going in a slightly bearish trend, right? So that's why I say that for some traders, if they want to enter, then an entry, possible entry level could be actually somewhere around this region. Let me just mark it. Around this region, right? We can see the buyers may come in around this zone to target basically this particular stock, moving from that zone and retesting the top, right? So this is what a swing trader will look for, right? However, for me, I believe that you should put probability on your side. If you are actually buying and waiting for a particular stock to go long, look for something with a channel which is moving up, or a strongly trending stock, right? Which is actually every single week making new highs. So that will be better in my opinion. Yep.
Betul, makes sense. I totally understand. Last week, our conviction on Zoom was quite low. And yeah, you can probably make some money in the short term, but let's put it this way, there are better prospects out there.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, let's go on to our next one, which is Cloudflare. So if you're familiar with the company Cloudflare, they actually provide cybersecurity. They sometimes when you log on to certain websites, you'll actually see, checking your browser for suitability and all that. And, this service is provided by Cloudflare. This is that company. Last week, we had quite a low conviction on Cloudflare as well. Let's listen in and see whether we were right from last week until now.
Last week, so you can see that the last couple of days price have been falling from a high of around the $86. Now currently is at $80, right? So this particular stock at this point, it looks better than Zoom actually, to be frank, right? It looks better than Zoom. Yeah. But let me just draw some lines here. So you can see that basically we have at the $95 zone around the February, okay, on the 10th of February, all right? And right now, another swing high is developed at around the $87 zone. And support, we can see that this particular area held quite well. Let me just mark it. This is the support zone for this particular stock at this moment, right? Which is around the $63, $64 zone. We have about $15 if, let's say, this particular support, which is the exponential moving average. As you can see from past prices somewhere in October last year, if it is in an uptrend, you will see that price will actually touch the moving average and bounce off it. So it acts like a dynamic support. However, in this situation right now, after this particular move to the downside, it has tested once, okay, basically at this point, $75, and it has bounced off that particular point, and now it is creating possibly another swing low. So this is the resistance that it broke out from. It tested the moving average, went up, testing again. So at this point, actually, if you are looking to buy this stock, this is one of the places where you should be thinking of buying, actually, right? So, but of course, before you think about buying, you should also think about the risk rewards as well, right? So at this point, you buy, and you are aiming for $95. So you have an upside of $15. That's about 20% upside. But and support actually at this point it's here, okay? So if you were to put your stop loss, it could actually be somewhere below the support zone, somewhere around here. So the risk reward actually is actually not on your side if you actually take the trade now, because if your stop loss is here at, let's put it nearer towards the spot zone at $60, that's 20%, $20 risk, while you are actually trying to get
15%
$50. Yeah, so your risk reward is actually not that good.
Yeah, it's less than 1. The ratio is less than 1.
Yeah, it's less than 1. So this is something that usually we don't actually advise anyone, basically I have students who take my course and all that, and when they ask me this kind of question, I would say you got to look at the risk reward, and at this point it's not looking that great, so you might want to give this a miss.
So our conviction, okay lah. Last week we were saying it's a bit low conviction, so okay lah. The prospects not so great. Okay, so folks, again, if you want to look at Cloudflare, yes, we are in the information age, and technology is very, very important. And Cloudflare does have a very nice niche in the sense where they provide security for websites. Also very, very important. So for a shorter term, maybe a bit low conviction, but kalau long term, would be nice to add to the portfolio for the long term lah. Right, Ardy?
Yes, Afiq, and this is a shariah compliant stock, right?
Yes, it is. So here's the thing, folks. Everything we've been sharing is Sharia compliant. We will do our screening beforehand. I just removed this. So we do our screening beforehand so that whatever recommendations we make here would be, of course, screened by us already, inshallah. But again, things may change over time. So how a stock is considered halal may very much depend on what it is currently doing, the financials behind it, the fundamentals behind it, and we will update you as we go along, inshallah. So saying that, standard disclaimer, all this is, do your own due diligence before you invest in anything. We do this for both education and entertainment purposes, not an invitation to invest in any of these counters. And so on that note, let's review the last counter that we had last week. I think we were looking at it. We were amazed. Both of us were amazed at how it performed. Kaya kasut, as I remember saying. Let's look at Crocs. And all of you out there should know that Crocs manufactures footwear made from foam, rubber. It's not rubber. It's such a foamy rubber type thing. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of it. But when I looked at the chart, I became an instant fan. I'll never buy their stuff, but I became an instant fan. Let's have a look at this, Ardy. Let's go.
Okay, so this particular stock, I think we actually used the weekly time frame to take a look at it. Last week, okay, I did draw this particular line. I said that price was actually within this congestion pattern, which is you can call it a bullish flag, or you can also, if you draw it in this way, it becomes a bullish flag. But if, let's say, you draw it in this way, right, it is an ascending triangle, right? So this is actually a bullish pattern. So last week price was at around $80. Is that true, Afiq?
Yes,
right?
Last week we saw 80.
At $80, and what I did was I draw the channel, right? And then after that, what I did was I extrapolated this particular line here and bring it to the top. And I did say that, okay, if it breaks the resistance here, it's going up. And voila, it did. All right. From somewhere around $82, this stock, our target was $100. It has exceeded, actually. All right. Exceeded the $100 target, and it is at $103.70 right now. And basically, it's about 20+% profits if you had actually bought last week when we were actually looking at this stock when it was within this congestion area. Yeah. What do you think of this, Afiq? Do you buy some?
That's the thing. So I'm not going to tell you guys what's in my portfolio. Crocs may or may not have been something that I chose a while back. But so far, our conviction has been quite right? We had very high conviction on Crocs. And like you said, it's up 15-20% in a week. Alhamdulillah. Well, for those of you who are holding on to fixed deposits, remember you're only getting 0.1% per year. Of course, doing stocks trading is high risk, so folks, do your due diligence. This might seem a very nice a very nice outlook and all, but remember, you have to do due diligence and understand your time horizon. And so be ready at any point in time that if you need to exit your trade, you need to exit and do your risk mitigation. Right, Ardy?
Yes, correct. You must have a plan at all times, right? And even for traders, they also diversify. They have a trading portfolio as well. That means they do not just focus on one stock. They have a couple of stocks, right? Which shows good setups. It shows basically on the charts, it's showing bullish tendencies and trends that are strong. So my advice is always to look for stocks that has a strong trend, right? Because the trend is your friend, and even if it retraces in a strong bullish stock, it could actually, get back to where you entered, even if it went against you for about 5 to 10%, right? Afiq?
Correct. And so in this case, when we look at our winners, we look at what we pick. Of course, somebody once told me when it comes into the trading game, if you are right 6 times out of 10, you'll be making money already, right?
Yes, correct. And also, it all depends. Probability is one. That is basically a win rate. So if let's say you win 6 out of 10, basically that's a win rate of 60%, right? But the risk reward ratio is also something that is important. Your risk reward ratio, if it's always is 1-to-1, 1:1, you risk 1, and then your profit is 1, then basically win rate of 60% will get you into profit. However, if you choose setups where the risk is more than your reward, then that becomes a big problem. Because even if you have a 60% win rate, you still could be losing money.
Correct. So for those of you who didn't really understand that bit, essentially it means this: if whenever you put in a trade and you look at the potential upside, how much you can potentially make, you must also bear in mind the potential downside, how much you can potentially lose. And so if you can make 20%, but if you can lose 30%, then the number is less than 1. Then of course you don't want to take that kind of risk. But if you say you can risk, say, downside is maybe 10%, but the upside could be 20-30%, then that kind of probability you want to take. Right. And again, folks, when it comes to halal investing, it's not about speculation. It really isn't about speculation. Here, what we're doing is we're making educated guesses. We're looking at the company fundamentals. Is it a good company to buy? We're looking at how it is moving in the next week, in the next month, in the next 6 months. We look at that. And so from a halal investing perspective, we are doing our due diligence. We're doing our analysis. We're taking a call. Yes, this stock, first of all, is halal. Yes. But we're not making a random guess. We're making educated analysis to see where it's going. And from that perspective, you can trade stocks the halal way.
Yeah, maybe, Afiq, let me just add something, right?
Go ahead.
Because you might have done your fundamentals, right? Okay, it's a great stock. It has a new technology and the industry is burgeoning and, it's a sunshine industry. But where do you enter, right? You enter, correct or not? You need to enter somewhere, right?
Correct.
So let's say you look at the charts and it's actually this particular stock is, in a down cycle, should you actually be buying at that point? Or if it's really already moved, let's say, a lot to the upside and, it's hitting a resistance level, should you be buying there? So we are talking about the accuracy of entering the stock once you have done your homework on the fundamentals. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the point that I think we should iterate here. Because like Afiq said, this is not speculation. You got to study the company first. You got to understand the company and, you got to understand even who is actually the directors, the board of directors in the company, the CEO. You got to understand all these things. And after you've done your homework and well and good, out of the 10 things that you have, the criteria that you have actually put across as something that the company needs to have before you enter into the stock and it meets all those criteria, then you look at technical analysis and the charts on where to enter.
Of course, fundamentals tell you whether this company is good or bad. Technical will tell you when to enter, because you don't want to enter right at a high, even though fundamentals is great. This you enter the high, drop. Then you start to feel your emotions coming in. You start feeling all the, did I start losing the money, and then I'm just gonna exit prematurely. And so you got to combine both, folks. You're going to have both fundamentals as well as technical skills. And on that note, let's go into this week's stock picks. Very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. I am going to share my bit here. There you go. So this was the counters we had last week: Zoom, Cloudflare, and Crocs. So far, Crocs, we were on point. Zoom was okay, right? Cloudflare was also okay, with not very high conviction. So today, we're going to be looking at Tsco, the tractor supply company. Now, a little bit about background about Tsco. Tsco produces farm equipment, gardening equipment, and they supply to a lot of the in the US. And as we know, the US has big farms. And ever since COVID, I've been monitoring them, and ever since COVID, there's been a lot of interest in home-based gardening because people are stuck at home, right? You can't go out, and so all of a sudden, people wanted to buy a lot of these home-based gardening. And Tsco does both supply to big businesses as well as to retail consumers like you and me. And so when I looked at the chart and I looked at the fundamentals, I thought, okay, this was a very interesting play to look at, both short and long term. And best part of all, it is considered Sharia compliant. So I'm going to stop my share screen here and put Ardy's screen up. Remove this. And Ardy, where's your chart? Tengok mana dia. There we go. And this is Tsco, Tractor Supply Company. Ardy, all yours.
Okay, so thank you, Afiq. And let's just take a look at the chart on the weekly time frame. Because before we want to go and deep dive to look at the daily time frame, we usually try to look at the weekly time frame first. Right? So right now, as you can see, this particular stock is in an uptrend. How do I know it's in an uptrend? Afiq, how do you know this is in an uptrend?
Whenever I bangun subuh, I pray, I ask Tuhan, I ask Allah, is this on an uptrend? And sometimes I hear the whisper, yes.
Itu apa benda tu yang kau dengar?
No, don't listen to me when it comes to that. Uptrend, folks, when you look at your charts go from left to right, left to right. If you're reading from right to left, something is wrong. This is not Arabic, this is English. Yeah? We're looking left to right, right? No, Ardy, we're not reading right to left.
Yeah.
So if you look at it this way, the overall trend line from April of 2019 all the way to April today 2021, that's 2 years what you're looking at right now. If you look at what Ardy is drawing, the triangle face, it's on a moving up from the left to the right. We consider that an uptrend. That is a 2-year uptrend, right? And if I look for the past 1 year, even from April 2020 to April 2021, you can see a very nice upward slope from left to right, going up. Betul tak?
Yes, you are reading it right, actually. You are quite an analyst yourself, huh? Afiq.
You taught me how to do it. Folks, I got to say, don't listen to Ardy when he gives me compliment, because he was the one who taught me. So technically, he is complimenting himself. I had a good teacher.
No, Afiq, you did your homework as well, right? You have learned. You take your time to learn all this as well.
Of course.
Okay. Of course. All right. Let me just give an overview of this particular stock. All right. We see that a low was formed on the 2nd of April 2018, actually, and price was at around $59. All right. And then we have another swing low, which was at $71, right? Somewhere in April, May, right? Okay. And then after that, what we saw was that we saw price actually breaking past this resistance. Okay, I need to actually just escape this for a while, draw this line, hold on. Right, so you can see that there was resistance, okay? This is the line, and you can see that after the price basically broke this resistance, there was no looking back. From $95, $90, $92, the price went up all the way to a price of $154. As you can see, I have actually drawn this line here, which connects the top, the swing highs, and this particular line gave us a projection of where price could go after this break actually happened, right? So hopefully in the future, when we do analysis of stocks, we capture this kind of movements, and I'm going to put my money in. Okay, because from here I can see it's quite clear there's no resistance, blocking this particular price ascent, and you can see from as low as $95, this particular stock went to $150. That's an upside of about $60 and easily 60% and above, right, Afiq?
Wow, best, man. That looks good. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so after that, once it hit resistance, right? What is resistance? Basically, resistance is a level where there are more participants of the market, especially for this stock, is more willing to sell than to buy. So, and it is also a level where most investors would be taking their profits, right? So that is a level where you should not be entering a buy entry for this particular stock or any other stocks for that matter, right? So
Yeah.
resistance is an area where you need to actually, you can only see it through the charts. That's the reason why Afiq and myself, okay, look at charts. And of course, we look at the company first. We look at whether it's Sharia compliant, whether it meets all the criteria that makes a good stock to invest in. And then entry, where do we enter? That's why we look at the charts. Because if you don't look at the charts and don't understand it, I guess you are just blindly putting your money in something that you don't know where it might go, right? So that's even worse, right? So looking at what it's doing right now, okay, my indicators, okay, I have arrows that have already come out in this area showing that this is a buy zone and a lot of buyers are coming in. And this particular slanting line resistance, as you can see, is being hit again, all right, on the 16th of February this year. It went down. You see 2 weeks of actually price retracing before it tests the slanting resistance again, and it broke above it on the 29th of March this year, right? And as you can see, price is still moving upwards, right? It's still moving upwards, and if based on technical analysis, right now it's at 194. I believe at the first resistance would be at the 200 mark. Let me just draw the line for you, because the 200 mark is a round number, okay? A round number acts as a resistance as well. Just like previously when we shared with you guys the chart of Crocs, right? Where $100 is basically a round number. It's also an attracting level, right? It's like a magnet, right? Where price tends to go towards that level. So as you can see, it did reach $100. So the next thing is how far above 100 can it be? Can it go, right? So looking at this particular stock, I believe that $200 mark will be tested. Now it's 194. That's $6 upside. Not much, possibly maybe about 3%. But after that level is broken, we can see higher prices, possibly towards 220, 230 level.
So what would you say? Should we hold our horses, wait until maybe it touches 200, see whether it breaks that psychological barrier of that 200, and if it does, then we can go in and ride up to maybe 15% profits of about 230?
There's a few ways to look at this actually. One is that for someone looking at this and he knows that it's going to 200, he wants to go for that 5%, he could actually get it, right? Because it's quite near already. And for somebody looking at a more non-aggressive approach, then it will be basically doing the second thing, best thing that you can do. Basically, you could wait for a retracement. So let me just draw this arrow. Once it reaches 200, you could wait for a retracement back down and then buy somewhere actually near this particular slanting line resistance and support, which is around the 178, 180 level. However, there's no guarantee that price can reach back there. So that's why some more aggressive traders looking at a strong trend like that, they wouldn't be actually waiting for a retracement. They would just enter where it is right now. But if you're more careful, the more careful trader will actually wait for a retrace to that level which I've just spoken about just now.
So it depends on how long we're looking at now, right?
Yep, right. So for me as a trader, investor, I prefer to actually buy when the market is showing me a red candle.
Okay. So you have to explain to our viewers, candle tu apa? Birthday?
Birthday. Okay, that's not the candle that I'm talking about. It's actually each of these particular bars, right, is called candles. Actually, these are Japanese candlesticks. It's the current, actually, de facto way of looking at charts at this point in time. But it wasn't always the case, right? In the past, we were looking at just line charts. And there's another chart which was popular in the West. It's called I forgot the name already, but yeah, I'm not using it anyway. So it's nowadays people are mainly using candlesticks, and this is something that most traders actually will look at, because setups, basically some setups are based on price action, they say, and based on the candlesticks. So when I say that it's red, for example, you see this particular red bars here, right? It's going up. 2 green bars means that for that particular week, price open at a certain level and it closed higher, right? So it closed in green. However, if it closed in red, it means that that week we saw price actually falling, right? And I usually would actually advise, or for myself, basically it's my approach, and I would usually buy when prices actually retrace and is red, because the next bar will be high probabilities that it will be green. So that's when you actually buy in red. Let's say at this point 154, and the next week it closed at 175, and that's already a $20 increase from 154, and that's about 10%. We are talking about 10%, and 10% gains in a week. I think that's not too bad, right? Not too shabby, right, Afiq?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. It's fantastic. Looks good.
Yeah. So that's what I have for Tractor Supply Company. Thanks, Afiq, for actually suggesting this particular stock, because it's really in a strong trend, in my opinion, and has more legs to go,
Yeah. I was looking at this and I was thinking to myself, this looks good. And knowing that the news from COVID around the world, it might be pushing more demand for gardening supplies, right? That's pretty much how it happened in 2020. And my analysis tells me, yeah, for a long term, for at least the next 1 year or something, I would be comfortable holding this particular counter.
Yep.
The moment I said that, the thunder. Right, let's look at the second counter. So just to wrap up on Tsco, let's look at the Tsco, and long story short, we will be having a medium to high conviction on this. I think safely we can say medium to high conviction. If you're shorter term time horizon, then you may want to hold off until it hits that 200 mark. If it does, and if it breaks through, then maybe you can consider adding it to your portfolio. Personally, for me, I'm a bit longer term. I like Tsco's fundamentals. I don't mind holding this particular counter. And so for me, I have a higher conviction, but knowing that I'll be holding it at least for the next 6 months to a year. And so the second counter we're looking at is actually FCX, which is Freeport-McMoran. Freeport-McMoran, they are actually a commodities company. What they do is they do mining. They mine for precious metals, gold, silver. They do commodities like copper, iron. They have mines in the US. They have mines in Latin America. They have mines in Indonesia. And if you've been reading the news over the past few months, you've heard of something called the commodity super cycle, right? Where the demand starts picking up, and we're looking at commodity prices going up. And so I did our due diligence. I checked through. Apparently, FCX, Freeport-McMoran, is Shariah compliant, alhamdulillah. And when I looked at the chart, I got excited. I was like, okay, Ardy, we need to talk about FCX. So this is on you, Ardy. Go.
Okay, let's look at Freeport-McMoran. Basically, Afiq has just shared with you some of what this company is all about. And now we go to look at the charts, right? So what we see is that it was in an uptrend channel, all right, since January 2016, all right, but it broke below this particular channel and went into a downtrend. As you can see here, it broke below, and it actually formed, okay, it went into this downtrend channel, and it lasted from June 2018 and all the way to March 2020. Okay, and right now it's doing something which shows to us it's actually the trend has changed, right? Since closing above the 15 and 30 moving average, price have not actually retraced much lower or below this 15 and 30 moving average. It has acted as support instead, and you can see that the breakout above this channel, which was on the 13th of July last year, okay, at a price of $13, it never looked back, and right now we are at $39. So that's a gain of about $26. That's a 200% gain.
Wow! Wow,
Yep.
if only we had seen this last year in May,
Yep. So, okay, never mind. Look at this particular candle here. We have like a long pintail candle. So basically price in May, right? So COVID-19 was in March, right? So in March we had it actually fell off the cliff, but not so much actually. From $12 it went down all the way to about $5. Well, that's about a loss of about 60%. But after reaching this low, and my indicators are showing that there's green here and there's green here. This is the VIX index, and I'm using the Heikan Ashi, which is giving me a signal to buy actually at this point. And from there, it actually rose above the moving averages and it carried on to the upside, right? And right now is where most of our viewers, I think, Afiq, is thinking. So what is it going to do? Is it going to come down after rising so much? Dah naik banyak, apa mesti jatuh?
Correct.
It doesn't always work that way. You see, with the stock market, you see, Afiq, price can do whatever it wants as long as market, sees that this is a value company and the demand is there, price will just go up. Now is that the resistance was actually at around okay, let me just mark this. Okay, the resistance was at around the $38 level, but as you can see here, it has created somewhat of like a U shape, right? Can you see the U shape, Afiq?
Correct. I can see it. It looks like it's a retracement.
This U shape actually is quite bullish, Afiq.
Means it's retraced down and it's going back up, right? The coiling spring that you told me.
Yeah, so it actually went sideways. Okay, this is like a coiling spring. Once it has actually finished this congestion period, okay, basically market is just like us as well. When we run, right, after 10 kilometers, we want to actually rest before we run another 10 kilometers. Okay, maybe not 10 kilometers, 2 kilometers or 1 kilometers, right? You need to rest.
100 meter pun jadi, ya.
100 meter pun jadi, aduh, tak payah jauh. Tu dah pancit, Okay, so basically, this congestion period is where the market takes a rest before it continues on where it wants to go next, right? So we are looking at resistance around the $39 level and support at around the $30 zone, and it's actually a $10 difference, right? A $10 range. So if you had bought at 30 and sell at 40, and then you actually do trading at this zone, you could have made quite a bit, 30% on every move from the downside to the upside, right? So at this point, we are looking at price trying to break above the resistance. So if it breaks the resistance, where is price going to go?
Wow, if we look at that, where is it going to go? If we look at that, could be even 45, 50, I think. Right, if I look long enough.
Okay, let's see where the lines, once the lines have been drawn, let's see where this particular stock will bring us next. Okay, so I have actually drawn this, and let's just draw an arrow to indicate where it could go to next if it actually breaks up to the upside. Okay, hold on. It can actually, okay, first mark round number will be at $45.
Yeah.
And you can say that the 45 mark is also a round number.
45.50 kan?
45.00. Okay, that's our first target to the upside. And if it breaks that level, next is the $50 level. So, yeah. Now it's around $39. It's about, let's say it's 40. So if it goes to 45, well, that's a 10% upside. And if it goes to 50, I think 20%.
20%,
right?
Correct.
Yeah, 20 plus percent actually.
25%, close to 25%.
Yeah, so this is a rounding bottom. And you can see that price basically rounding off and it's trying to launch from here. So, yeah, that's my analysis, Afiq. And thank you again for choosing a wonderful stock, which is trending up. I know you have your methods in finding these trending stocks, but we should not say.
Yeah, it's a secret. It's a secret. It's a secret between me and Ardy and all my other little HIN community. Folks, if you are watching this today on Halal Investing Network, do share this with your friends. Share it out. We want to benefit our Muslim community. There really is not enough, halal investing information available to us here. And inshallah, what we are going to be doing here at Halal Investing Network is to help you achieve your dreams and your goals at the end of the day, right? I focus on a lot of passive investing, building your pokok korma, if you've heard of that term, building your day tree, going nice and slow and guaranteeing your retirement. And my buddy here, Ardy, is fantastic at doing the active side of things. You can see his skills in doing the charting and doing the analysis, and he makes calls. And so tune in next week when we recap FCX and TSCO, Freeport-McMoran and the Tractor Supply Company, to see whether our conviction and our calls were right. Okay, inshallah, for this, may Allah berkat all our activities, and because may you benefit from it. Once again, last disclaimer, folks, do your own due diligence. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. It is not an invitation to buy into these stocks. Okay, Ardy, all yours. Anything to say?
Yeah, thank you once again for watching our videos, right? Like what Afiq has said, you need to do a lot of learning as well, if you view our videos and you think that this is too complex for me and I don't understand what these guys are talking, it's fine actually, right? Because even sometimes when I first started, right, if I were to see these videos, I wouldn't understand either what we are talking about. But most importantly, stay positive, right? If you want to be an investor, be an active investor, even if you want to be a passive investor, you need to know what you are investing in, right? So there's nothing better than a conviction that comes from your learning and your experience, okay? The conviction, right, is priceless, okay? That instinct, the gut feel, right, because of all the training and all the time in front of the screen and learning from people like Afiq, for example, and suddenly when an opportunity comes by, you will be able to spot it, like how we do it here on Halal Investing Network. Yep. Thanks again for viewing our video, and hopefully you'll join us for our next episode.
Yeah, tune in next week, right? You and I, we're going to go on next week, next Tuesday. I'll schedule it on our HIN.
Hari Raya pun kerja, Afiq. Kau ni teruk lah.
No, Thursday is Hari Raya.
Okay, salah.
Thursday is Hari Raya. Folks, if you see us live on Hari Raya, it's probably us tengah makan.
No, we wear baju kurung Hari Raya period wear baju kurung Tanjak.
Tak nak kahwin tu lain tu.
Fantastic. Alhamdulillah, I think today has been a very, very, very exciting and very engaging session. I want to acknowledge Ardy. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me and for our community out there. And I think the most important, of course, are our viewers, our community. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for giving us the faith and watching and staying on for so long. I mean, we've only been doing this for how long? 45 minutes? Okay, and it's not fun, it's not easy to listen to just two guys drone on and on and on about numbers and charts and very boring kadang-kadang. But again, thank you for staying on with us. Share, like, comment, subscribe to everything that you see. Find us on Facebook, find us on YouTube, find us on all the kinds of social media. I would like to end this with Tasbih Kafara and Surah Wan As. Alhamdulillah, folks. We're in the last legs of Ramadan. Laylatul Qadr is in the next, within this next last 10 days of Ramadan. May you be blessed and may your fasting be makbulkan. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
And